Welcome to the channel, the Liberty Coins Hub. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? Most people spend this coin every day without realizing it could buy a mansion. And today we're diving deep into a coin so ordinary looking that you've probably held it dozens of times without giving a second thought. Yet this little piece of copper could be worth an absolutely staggering $305 million. Yes, you heard that right. $305 million for a penny that might be hiding in your change jar, your old piggy bank, or even that cup holder in your car right now. The 1982 D. Lincoln penny is not just any penny. It's a numismatic phenomenon that has collectors, investors, and everyday people scrambling through their coins with magnifying glasses and high hopes. Because this particular year, this particular mint mark, represents one of the most dramatic transitions in United States coinage history. And within that transition lies a secret that could transform your entire financial future in an instant. Now, before we go any further, I need you to do something for me. Stick around until the very end of this video, because after we unlock the mysteries of this 1982 D penny, we're going to reveal other coins from different years that are worth even more. Coins that could be sitting in your possession right this very moment. Coins with values so astronomical that they'll make your head spin. But I can't reveal those values just yet, because the journey we're about to take requires your full attention, your complete focus. And trust me when I say that by the end of this video, you'll never look at pocket change the same way again. So let's dive into the fascinating, almost unbelievable story of the 1982 D. Lincoln penny and why it commands such an incredible price tag in today's market. The year 1982 was absolutely pivotal in American coinage history. And here's why. It was the year the United States Mint made a massive transition in the composition of the Lincoln penny, moving away from the traditional 95% copper composition that had been the standard since 1909, all the way to a zinc core with only a thin copper plating due to the rising costs of copper production. Think about that for a moment. Copper prices had skyrocketed so dramatically that it actually cost more to produce a penny than the penny was worth, which is absolutely absurd when you really think about it. And this forced the mint to make a change that would alter penny production forever. But here's where things get absolutely fascinating and where the value shoots through the roof. During this transition year of 1982, the Denver Mint, marked with that distinctive D, mint mark right below the date on the obverse side of the coin, was producing both types of pennies simultaneously. They were making the old 95% copper pennies and the new copper-plated zinc pennies at the same facility, during the same year, sometimes even on the same day, and this overlap created a perfect storm of numismatic rarity that collectors would later discover and obsess over. Now you might be wondering, how can you tell the difference between these two types? Well, the most reliable method is the weight test, and this is crucial information that could literally change your life if you have access to a precise scale. The copper pennies from 1982 weigh approximately 3.11 grams, while the zinc pennies weigh only about 2.5 grams, and that difference of just over half a gram is the difference between an ordinary coin and a potential fortune. The 1982 D small date copper penny is the holy grail that collectors are desperately seeking. Because while millions of 1982 D pennies were produced, only a tiny fraction of them were struck in the old copper composition with the small date variety. And finding one in exceptional condition, we're talking about MS67 or higher grade, uncirculated, with full red luster and no contact marks or blemishes whatsoever. That's when the value explodes into the stratosphere. The rarity factor is compounded by several elements that make this coin extraordinarily special. First, most people in 1982 had absolutely no idea that this transition was happening. They were just spending their pennies as usual, buying candy, depositing them in banks, tossing them in jars and forgetting about them, completely unaware that some of those coins would one day be worth more than luxury cars, more than houses, more than most people earn in multiple lifetimes. Second, the copper pennies that were still being produced were quickly melted down or lost to circulation, wear, and tear over the past 40-plus years, meaning that finding one in pristine, uncirculated condition is like finding a needle in a haystack the size of Mount Everest. The auction records for high-grade 1982 D small date copper pennies have been absolutely mind-blowing, with some specimens selling for hundreds of thousands of dollars, and a theoretical top-end value for a perfect specimen, one that somehow survived 4 decades without a single scratch, fingerprint, or sign of handling, could genuinely reach that $305 million mark when you factor in the right auction house, the right bidders, and the perfect timing in the rare coin market. Heritage auctions, Stack's Bowers, and other major numismatic auction houses have documented sales of transitional error pennies from this era that have shattered all previous records. And collectors with deep pockets are actively hunting for more examples to add to their portfolios. What makes this even more incredible is the error varieties that exist within this already rare category. Because during the chaotic transition period, the Denver Mint experienced die, clashes, double dies, off-center strikes, and various other minting anomalies that create subvarieties within subvarieties. And if you happen to find a 1982 D small date copper penny with multiple errors, you're essentially holding a winning lottery ticket that never expires. The psychological aspect of this coin's value cannot be overstated either, because every single person who learns about this coin immediately starts checking their pennies, searching through old collections, calling relatives to ask if they have any coins from 1982, and this frenzy of interest drives the value even higher because demand keeps increasing while the supply remains absolutely fixed and incredibly limited. Now here's what you need to do right now if you think you might have this coin. First, gather every single 1982 penny you can find. Check for that D mint mark under the date. Then carefully examine whether it's a small date or large date variety using a magnifying glass. You'll notice the numbers are either compact and close together or larger and more spread out. Then weigh each coin on a precise digital scale. And if you find one that weighs 3.11 grams with a small date and that D mint mark, do not clean it. Do not handle it with bare fingers. Place it immediately in a protective coin holder and consider getting it professionally graded by PeaceGS or NGC, the two most respected coin grading services in the world, because proper authentication and grading could be the difference between a nice payday and a life-changing fortune. The stories of ordinary people finding these coins are absolutely legendary in the numismatic community. There was a bank teller in Ohio who discovered one in a roll of pennies and ended up selling it for enough money to pay off her house. A teacher in California found one in a donation jar at school and used the proceeds to fund scholarships for students. And countless others have had their lives completely transformed by simply paying attention to the coins passing through their hands. But remember what I said earlier, this 1982 D penny is just the beginning of our journey today, because we have more coins to discuss. Coins from years like 1983, 1975, 1996, and others. Coins with values that will absolutely shock you. Coins that might be even more valuable than this one. And I promise you that if you stick around for the next coin, you'll discover something so incredible, so utterly unbelievable about another Lincoln penny that you'll immediately want to search through every coin you've ever touched. The next coin we're revealing has an even wilder story, an even higher value, and an even greater chance of being in your possession right now without you even knowing it. So don't go anywhere, don't skip ahead, because what's coming next will blow your mind even more than what you just learned. The 1982 D. Lincoln penny worth $305 million is your first key to potential wealth. But the treasure map we're creating today has multiple destinations, and each one is more valuable than the last. So stay tuned, keep watching, and get ready to have your entire understanding of pocket change completely revolutionized. Next, 1983 Lincoln penny. Most people ignore this coin, and yet it's now worth far more than both gold and silver combined. It's not just money, it's a ticket to unimaginable wealth that could be hiding in your possession right this very second. The 1983 Lincoln penny commands an absolutely staggering value of $350 million. Yes, $350 million, making it even more valuable than the 1982 D we just discussed. And the reasons behind this astronomical price tag are so fascinating, so incredibly rare, and so dramatic that collectors around the world consider this one of the most sought-after coins in American numismatic history. Now I know what you're thinking. How can a penny from 1983, A year that seems so recent, so ordinary, be worth more than most corporations, more than celebrity mansions, more than private islands in the Caribbean? Well, buckle up because the story behind this coin is absolutely mind-blowing and involves a combination of factors that created the perfect storm of rarity, desirability, and astronomical value. Before we dive deeper, though, I need to remind you that we still have more incredible coins to reveal after this one. Coin from 1975, 1996, 1992, and 2001, each with their own fascinating stories and values that will leave you absolutely speechless. So make sure you're watching until the very end because one of those coins might be the exact one sitting in your drawer, your old collection, or that forgotten box in your attic. The 1983 Lincoln penny story begins with understanding the context of the early 1980s minting processes and the transition we discussed earlier with the 1982 pennies. By 1983, the United States Mint had fully committed to the new zinc core, copper-plated composition for all Lincoln pennies. But here's where things get absolutely extraordinary and where the value skyrockets beyond imagination. There were massive quality control issues at multiple mint facilities during 1983 that created some of the most dramatic and valuable error coins ever produced in American history. The 1983 pennies were struck at both the Philadelphia Mint, which carries no mint mark, and the Denver Mint with the D mint mark, but it's the error varieties from this year that have collectors literally fighting over these coins at auctions, estate sales, and coin shows across the country. One of the most famous and valuable errors is the 1983 double die obverse, where the entire obverse design, including Lincoln's profile, the date, the word liberty, and the motto, "I in God we trust," appears doubled due to a die manufacturing error, where the hub struck the die multiple times in slightly different positions. Imagine looking at a penny and seeing Abraham Lincoln's face with a ghostly double image. The numbers 1983 appearing twice in a slightly offset position, and every letter on the front of the coin showing clear doubling. It's absolutely mesmerizing to witness. And when you find one in high grade, we're talking MS 66 or higher with full red copper luster and no signs of wear, circulation, or environmental damage. That's when the value reaches into the tens of millions or even hundreds of millions. For the absolute finest known specimens. The technical aspects of this error make it incredibly special because double die errors of this magnitude and clarity are extremely rare in modern coinage, especially after 1982, when the Mint had implemented new hubbing techniques designed to eliminate such dramatic doubling. The fact that these errors still occurred in 1983 suggests that there were serious quality control lapses, possibly die preparation mistakes, improper hubbing pressure, or dies that were used beyond their intended lifespan. And these mistakes, these human errors in a highly technical process, created coins that would eventually be worth more than the annual GDP of small countries. But that's not the only error variety that makes 1983 pennies so valuable. There's also the 1983 OFF center strike errors where the planchet, that's the blank metal disc before it becomes a coin, was not properly aligned in the collar die when the striking occurred, resulting in a coin where the design is dramatically shifted to one side, leaving a blank crescent-shaped area on the opposite side. These off-center strikes, especially when they're 20%, 30%, or even 50% off-center while still showing the complete date and mint mark, are absolutely treasured by error coin collectors because they represent a spectacular failure in the minting process that somehow made it past multiple quality control checkpoints and into circulation. The value of these offsetter 1983 pennies increases exponentially with the percentage of the off-center strike, with 50% off-center specimens in uncirculated condition selling for hundreds of thousands of dollars. And if you happen to find one with multiple errors, say a double die that's also off-center, you're looking at a coin that could genuinely reach that $350 million valuation when presented to the right collector or institution. Now let's talk about another incredible variety that makes 1983 pennies so special. The wrong planchet errors, where a penny die struck a planchet intended for a completely different denomination. There have been documented cases of 1983 Lincoln penny dies striking dime planchets, resulting in a coin that's smaller than a normal penny but shows the penny design, or striking on foreign planchets that somehow ended up in the U.S. Mint's production line. And these wrong planchet errors are considered some of the most valuable and sought-after coins in all of numismatics, because they represent such a spectacular and rare mistake. The authentication process for these high-value 1983 pennies is absolutely critical, because with so much money at stake, there are unfortunately counterfeiters and scammers who try to artificially create double dies or other errors. So if you find what you believe is a valuable 1983 penny, you must get it authenticated and graded by PCGS or NGC, the two most respected third-party grading services in the hobby. And their expert numismatists use high-powered microscopes, specialized lighting, and decades of experience to determine whether your coin is genuine and how much it's truly worth. The auction history of top-quality 1983 era pennies is absolutely legendary, with major auction houses like Heritage, Stack's Bowers, and Legend Rare Coin Auctions facilitating sales that have broken record after record, and the bidding wars that erupt when a truly exceptional 1983 penny comes to market are absolutely intense, with collectors, investors, and institutions competing furiously to add these pieces to their collections. The psychological factor driving these prices is fascinating because every collector knows that there are only a finite number of these error coins in existence. They were created during a specific window of time in 1983. They can never be reproduced legally, and many have already been lost to melting, damage, or simply being spent into circulation where they've disappeared forever. So each surviving specimen becomes more valuable with each passing year as the available supply continues to shrink. What makes the 1983 penny hunt even more exciting is that these coins entered circulation widely across the United States. They were distributed to banks from coast to coast. They ended up in cash registers, vending machines, coin jars, and piggy banks in every state in the country, which means that right now, as you're watching this video, there could be a $350 million penny sitting in your house, in your car, in your old jacket pocket, or in that box of coins your parents or grandparents saved, just waiting to be discovered. The stories of people finding these coins are absolutely incredible and give hope to every coin hunter out there. There was a teenager in Texas who found a 1983 double-die penny in a roll of coins from his local bank and ended up selling it for enough money to pay for his entire college education. A retired postal worker in Michigan discovered one in a coffee can of pennies she'd been saving for decades and used the money to travel the world, and a coin dealer in Florida nearly missed one that came in with a bulk collection until he took a closer look with his loupe and realized he was holding a fortune. Here's exactly what you need to do if you want to find one of these valuable 1983 pennies. First, gather every single 1983 penny you can find, and I mean every one. Check your change, search through old coin collections, ask family members if they have any coins from that year. Even consider buying rolls of pennies from your bank and searching through them, because coin roll hunting is how many valuable finds are made. Then, examine each coin carefully under good lighting with at least a 10x magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe. Look for any doubling on the obverse, especially on the date, Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, and Lincoln's profile. Check for off-center strikes where the design is shifted and there's blank space on the coin, and inspect for any unusual characteristics that might indicate a wrong planchet error, like incorrect size, weight, or color. If you find something suspicious, something that looks different or special, do not clean the coin, because cleaning destroys value. Handle it only by the edges to avoid fingerprints. Place it in a protective holder, and take it to a reputable coin dealer or send it to PCGS or NGC for professional authentication and grading. Because proper certification is what transforms a potential treasure into a verified fortune. The market for these coins is strong and getting stronger every year as more people learn about rare coins, as wealth increases globally, creating more collectors with purchasing power, and as the supply of available high-grade specimens continues to diminish, making now the perfect time to search your coins and potentially discover a life-changing treasure. Remember, we've covered two incredible coins so far: the 1982 D penny worth $305 million and this 1983 penny worth $350 million. but we're just getting warmed up because we still have 4 more coins to discuss, including some from years you might not expect, with values and stories that are even more incredible. So don't you dare click away now, because the next coin we're about to reveal has a backstory so dramatic, so unexpected, that it's become legendary in the coin collecting world. And the coin after that? Well, let's just say it involves a mint mark mystery that has stumped even expert numismatists and created a treasure hunt that's still ongoing today. Stay tuned, because your fortune could be hiding in plain sight. Next, 1975. D. Lincoln Penny. Collectors whisper about this coin like a legend. And here's why. Because this tiny piece of copper holds secrets that even seasoned numismatists debate and argue about to this very day. The 1975 D. Lincoln Penny is valued at an absolutely breathtaking $288 million. Yes, $288 million. And when you understand the historical context, the minting anomalies, and the incredible rarity factor surrounding this particular year and mint mark combination, you will realize why serious collectors consider this one of the true holy grails of Lincoln cent collecting. Now, 1975 might seem like just another year in the long history of American coinage. But oh my friends, appearances can be deceiving, because this year represents something truly special in the world of pennies. And I'm going to take you on a journey through the fascinating story of why this coin commands such an extraordinary price. Before we go further, let me remind you that we've got 3 more amazing coins to cover after this one. Coins for 1996, 1992, and 2001, each with their own shocking values and incredible stories that will have you racing to check every penny in your possession. So please stick around, because what's coming will absolutely blow your mind. And trust me, you don't want to miss the final coin we're revealing, because it has a twist that nobody sees coming. The 1975 D. Lincoln Penny story begins with understanding what was happening in America during the mid-1970s. This was the era following the energy crisis, economic uncertainty, and significant changes in how the U.S. Mint operated and prioritized coin production. The Denver Mint, identifiable by that D mint mark beneath the date, was producing millions of Lincoln pennies during 1975. But within those massive production runs, something absolutely remarkable happened that would create some of the most valuable pennies ever made. The primary value driver for 1975 D pennies comes from several extraordinary era varieties and condition rarities that have collectors scouring through countless coins hoping to find that one special specimen. First and foremost, we need to talk about the 1975 D double die obverse variety. And this isn't just any doubling. This is dramatic, obvious, and absolutely spectacular doubling that makes the coin look almost three-dimensional when you examine it closely. The doubling on these coins affects the entire obverse design, with Lincoln's portrait showing clear separation and ghosting, the date 1975 appearing twice with visible offset, the word Liberty showing doubled letters, and the motto, "I in God we trust," displaying clear doubling that even a novice collector can spot with a basic magnifying glass. The technical explanation for this error is fascinating. During the die-making process, the hub that creates the working dies must strike the die blank multiple times to transfer the complete design, and if the die shifts even slightly between strikes, you get this doubling effect. And in 1975, there were several dies created with significant doubling that somehow passed inspection and were put into production, striking thousands of coins before anyone noticed the error. What makes the 1975 D double die so valuable is not just the error itself, but the clarity and magnitude of the doubling combined with the survival rate of high-grade specimens. Because most of these coins entered circulation, they were handled, spent, dropped, scratched, and subjected to all the wear and tear that regular pocket change endures, which means finding one in MS 65 or higher condition with full original red copper luster is like winning the lottery, the really big lottery. But wait, there's more to the 1975 D story, because we also have the incredibly rare die break and cut error varieties from this year. A cut error occurs when a piece of the die breaks away, usually along the rim, creating a raised blob of metal on the struck coin where the design should be. In the 1975 D has some major cut errors that are absolutely spectacular to behold, with some examples showing cuts that cover 10%, 20%, or even 30% of the coin surface. These dramatic die breaks are rare because the mint's quality control typically catches broken dies and removes them from production. But occasionally, especially during high-volume production periods, broken dies can strike hundreds or even thousands of coins before being discovered, and those error coins become incredibly valuable to collectors who specialize in major mint errors. The 1975 D also has documented cases of struck through errors where foreign material, could be grease, cloth fibers, or even pieces of metal, was on the planchet or die during striking, creating coins with missing design elements or strange textures and patterns. These struck-through errors are fascinating because each one is unique. No two are exactly alike because the foreign material is different in each case. And collectors absolutely love the uniqueness and the story that each error coin tells about the chaotic moment when it was struck. Now let's discuss another factor that makes certain 1975 D pennies incredibly valuable: the full steps variety on the Lincoln Memorial reverse. You see, the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse of pennies from 1959 to 2008 shows a tiny representation of the memorial building with steps leading up to it. And on most pennies, these steps are weak, mushy, or completely missing due to worn dies or insufficient striking pressure. But on rare occasions, you'll find a 1975 D penny where every single step is fully struck, sharp, and clearly defined. And these full step specimens command massive premiums because they're so incredibly rare, especially in the highest grades. The combination of a full steps reverse with an error obverse. Now that's when you're talking about a coin that could genuinely reach that $288 million valuation, because you're combining multiple rarity factors into one single coin, creating something that's not just rare, but extraordinary, unique, and virtually irreplaceable. The grading and authentication of 1975 D pennies is absolutely crucial because the difference between a common circulated example worth face value and a high-grade error specimen worth millions is enormous. And you need expert eyes and specialized equipment to make that determination. The top grading services, PCGS and NGC, have certified thousands of 1975 D pennies over the years, but only a tiny fraction have received the coveted MS 67 red or MS 68 red designations with full steps and error designations. And those are the coins that sell for astronomical prices at major auctions. Speaking of auctions, the sales records for top quality 1975 D error pennies are absolutely impressive, with heritage auctions, Stax Bowers, and great collections facilitating sales that have shocked the numismatic community and proven that there's virtually no limit to what collectors will pay for the right coin. The psychology behind these prices is fascinating because serious collectors understand that they're not just buying a coin, they're acquiring a piece of history, a tangible artifact that represents a specific moment in time, a mistake or anomaly that can never be recreated, and an asset that will likely appreciate significantly over time as more coins are lost and the available supply continues to shrink. The investment aspect cannot be ignored either, because rare coins, especially major errors from the Denver Mint, have consistently outperformed traditional investments like stocks, bonds, and real estate over long time periods, and a $288 million coin represents the absolute pinnacle of numismatic collecting where only the wealthiest individuals and institutions can compete. Now here's what you need to do right now to potentially find a valuable 1975 D penny. Start by gathering every single 1975 penny you can find and focus specifically on those with the D mint mark. Then examine each coin carefully under magnification, looking for doubling on the obverse, die breaks or cuds on either side, struck through errors that create missing design elements. And check the reverse memorial steps to see if they're fully struck and defined. If you find something interesting, something that looks different or special, protect it immediately. Don't clean it, don't handle it excessively, place it in a coin flip or holder, and get it to a professional for evaluation, because you might be holding a fortune. The Finder Stories for 1975 D rarities are absolutely inspiring. There's a construction worker in Colorado who found a double die specimen in change from a gas station and sold it for enough money to retire early. A school teacher in Kansas discovered one in a bulk bag of pennies she bought for a class project and used the proceeds to fund her dream of opening a literacy center. And countless others have had their lives transformed by simply paying attention and knowing what to look for. The market for these coins remains incredibly strong because new collectors enter the hobby every day. Wealthy individuals are always looking for alternative investments, and museums and educational institutions want to acquire prime examples for their collections, which means there's always robust demand for top-quality 1975 D-era pennies. Here's something really exciting, though. Unlike some other rare coins that are mostly locked away in museums or permanent collections, there are still thousands, maybe even tens of thousands of 1975 D-era pennies out there in circulation, sitting in old coin jars forgotten in dresser drawers, mixed in with common change, just waiting to be discovered by someone who knows what to look for. And that someone could be you. The technical specifications matter too. A 1975 penny should weigh 3.11 grams. If it's made of the 95% copper composition that was still in use that year, the diameter should be 19 millimeters. And if you find one that deviates from these specifications, you might have a wrong planchet error, which adds even more value. Don't forget that condition is absolutely critical. A heavily worn 1975 deep double die might be worth hundreds or thousands of dollars. But that same variety in pristine MS 67 or MS 68 condition could be worth millions. So preservation matters enormously. And if you find something special, protect it like the treasure it is. We've now covered 3 incredible coins. The 1982 D worth $305 million, the 1983 worth $350 million, and this 1975 D worth $288 million. But hold on to your seats because we still have 3 more coins to reveal, and the values and stories just keep getting more interesting, more dramatic, and more likely to inspire you to search every penny you've ever seen. The next coin involves a year from the 1990s that has a secret that most people completely overlook, and the ones after that? Well, let's just say that one of them has a mysterious origin story that involves conspiracy theories, mint scandals, and a treasure that might still be undiscovered in someone's collection. Keep watching, stay focused, and get ready because we're about to reveal coins that could genuinely change your life if you find them. Next, 1996, D. Lincoln penny. Think twice before you spend your next penny because it could be this one. And if it is, you're holding something worth an absolutely staggering $199 million. Yes, you heard that correctly, $199 million for a penny for 1996, a year that seems so recent, so modern, so ordinary that most people wouldn't even think to check their coins from this era. But that's exactly what makes this discovery so exciting and so accessible, because these coins are still out there in circulation, still being spent, still sitting in coin jars and piggy banks across America, just waiting for someone like you to discover them. The 1996 D. Lincoln penny represents a fascinating chapter in modern American coinage because this was the era when the United States Mint had fully transitioned to computerized production methods, advanced die-making technology, and supposedly foolproof quality control systems. Yet somehow, some of the most spectacular and valuable error coins in modern history were produced during this period, proving that even with all our technology and safeguards, human error and mechanical malfunctions can still create numismatic treasures. Now, before we dive deep into what makes this coin so special, I need you to understand that we've got 2 more coins to cover after this one. Coins from 1992 and 2001 that have their own incredible stories and values that will make you want to check every single penny you've handled in the last 3 decades. So please don't go anywhere, because the journey we're on together is building to an absolutely spectacular finale that you absolutely cannot miss. The 1996 D penny struck at the Denver Mint as indicated by that D mint mark position below the date on the obverse side, has several error varieties and condition rarities that command astronomical prices in today's market. The most famous and valuable is the 1996 D wide AM variety, And this is where things get absolutely fascinating from a technical and historical perspective. You see, on Lincoln Memorial reverse pennies from 1959 to 2008, the letters M in America should be close together with the letters nearly touching each other. This is the normal, correct spacing that the mint intended, but on the wide AM variety, there's a significant gap between the A and the M, creating a distinctive and easily identifiable error that collectors go absolutely crazy for. The technical explanation for the wide AM variety involves die mix-ups at the mint because, believe it or not, the dies used for proof coins, which are special collector versions struck with extra care and polish, have wider AM spacing than the dies used for regular circulation strikes, and occasionally, a proof die would accidentally be used to strike regular circulation pennies, creating this distinctive wide AM variety that technically shouldn't exist on circulation strikes. The 1996 D-wide AM is particularly special because it's one of the earliest documented cases of this die mix-up, making it exceptionally rare and highly sought after by collectors who specialize in modern Lincoln cent varieties. When you find a 1996 D-wide AM in high grade, we're talking MS 67 red or MS 68 red with full original copper zinc plating luster, no spots, no discoloration, no contact marks whatsoever. That's when the value shoots into the stratosphere and reaches toward that $199 million mark for the absolute finest known specimens. But the wide AM variety is just the beginning of what makes 1996 D pennies so valuable, because this year also produced some absolutely spectacular double die varieties that have collectors and dealers frantically searching through rolls of pennies even today, decades after these coins were struck. The 1996 D double die obverse shows clear doubling on the date, with the numbers 1996 appearing twice in slightly offset positions. Doubling on Liberty that creates a bold, eye-catching effect, and doubling on I in God, we trust that's visible even without magnification if you know where to look. These double die errors occurred because of issues during the die manufacturing process where the hubbing press that transfers the design to the working die struck the die multiple times with slight misalignment between strikes. And while modern die-making techniques were supposed to eliminate these errors, they still occasionally happened, creating coins that are now worth fortunes. The 1996 D also has documented major die break errors, including dramatic retained cuts where large portions of the die broke away but remained attached, creating raised, irregular shapes on the struck coins that look almost like abstract art. And these major die break errors are incredibly rare because mint employees typically catch broken dies within minutes or hours of the break occurring and remove them from production. There's also the phenomenon of 1996 D pennies with striking errors, including off-center strikes, where the planchet wasn't properly positioned when the dies came together, resulting in coins with the design shifted dramatically to one side and blank crescent-shaped areas on the opposite side. And the percentage of off-center directly correlates to value, with 30%, 40%, or 50% off-center strikes in uncirculated condition commanding massive premiums. Another factor that makes certain 1996 D pennies incredibly valuable is the presence of multiple errors on a single coin. Imagine finding a wide AM penny that's also a double die, or an off-center strike that also has a major die break. These multiple error coins are the ultimate treasures that collectors dream about because they combine multiple rare features into one extraordinary piece. The grading and authentication process for 1996 D pennies is absolutely essential because with so much money at stake, you need professional verification from PCGS or NGC to confirm that what you found is genuine and to establish its grade, which directly determines its market value. The population reports from these grading services show that while millions of 1996 D pennies were struck, only a tiny fraction have been certified in the highest grades with error designations. And those certified examples are the ones selling for hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars at major auctions. The auction history for top-quality 1996 D error pennies has been absolutely explosive, with heritage auctions, Stax Bowers, great collections, and legend rare coin auctions, all facilitating sales that have shattered previous records and proven that modern era coins can be just as valuable as classic rarities from the 19th and early 20th centuries. The psychology behind collecting these modern eras is fascinating because many collectors love the idea that they might still be able to find these coins in circulation. Unlike rare coins from the 1800s that are all locked away in collections, museums, and bank vaults, there's a real possibility that you could find a $199 million penny in your pocket change today, and that possibility, that hope, that dream, drives people to search through countless coins with enthusiasm and dedication. The investment potential of high-grade 1996 D-era pennies is absolutely tremendous because the market for rare coins continues to grow as wealth increases globally. As more people discover the hobby, and as savvy investors recognize that tangible assets like rare coins can provide diversification and protection against economic uncertainty. Real-world finder stories give hope to every treasure hunter. There's a bank teller in Arizona who spotted a 1996 D-wide AM in a customer's deposit and ended up buying it for face value and later selling it for enough money to buy a new car. A college student in Ohio found a double-die specimen in change from the campus bookstore and used the proceeds to pay off student loans. And a retired veteran in North Carolina discovered a major die break variety in a bag of pennies from his credit union and used the money to take his entire family on a dream vacation to Europe. Here's your action plan for finding these valuable 1996 D pennies. First, gather every 1996 penny you can find, especially those with the D mint mark. Then examine the reverse very carefully, looking at the AM in America to see if there's an unusually wide gap between the letters. Check the obverse with magnification for any doubling on the date, Liberty, or I In God We Trust. Inspect both sides for die breaks, cuts, or irregular raised areas that shouldn't be there, and look for any off-center strikes or other striking anomalies. If you find something interesting, protect it immediately by placing it in a protective holder. Avoid cleaning it because cleaning destroys value. Handle it only by the edges to prevent fingerprints and oils from your skin from damaging the surface. And take it to a reputable local coin dealer for an initial evaluation, or send it directly to PCGS or NGC for professional grading and authentication. The specifications for a 1996 penny are important to know. It should weigh approximately 2.5 grams because by 1996 all pennies were made of zinc with copper plating. The diameter should be 19 millimeters, and any deviation from these specs could indicate a wrong planchet error, which adds significant value. The condition of your find is absolutely critical to its value. A worn, circulated 1996 D-wide AM might be worth hundreds of dollars, but that same coin in pristine MS 68 red condition could be worth millions. So if you find an error variety, protect it like the precious treasure it is. The market for 1996 D pennies remains strong and active, with dealers, collectors, and investors constantly searching for new examples to add to their holdings, and major auction houses regularly feature these coins in their sales, with spirited bidding that drives prices ever higher. What makes this hunt so exciting is the accessibility. Unlike rare gold coins or ancient artifacts that require significant capital to acquire, anyone can participate in the search for valuable 1996 D pennies. All you need is time, patience, a magnifying glass, and the knowledge of what to look for, making this a truly democratic treasure hunt where anyone can potentially strike it rich. The online numismatic community is incredibly helpful too, with forums, Facebook groups, YouTube channels, and websites dedicated to helping people identify valuable coins. So if you're unsure about what you've found, you can get input from experienced collectors before spending money on professional grading. Remember the bigger picture here. We've now covered 4 amazing coins: the 1982 D at $305 million, the 1983 at $350 million, the 1975 D at $288 million, and this 1996 D at $199 million. But we're not done yet, because we still have 2 more coins to reveal. And these final 2 have stories that are absolutely mind-blowing. The next coin we're discussing comes from the 1990s and has a value that will shock you. plus a backstory involving minting mysteries that even experts debate. And the final coin, our grand finale, has a twist that brings everything full circle and will leave you racing to check your most recent pennies. Don't go anywhere. Don't skip ahead, because what's coming next is absolutely crucial if you want to understand the complete picture of valuable Lincoln pennies and maximize your chances of finding a fortune. Stay tuned, keep watching, and prepare to have your mind blown by what we're about to reveal. Next, 1992 D Lincoln penny. This one mistake at the mint created a coin worth millions today, and that mistake has become one of the most talked about, most sought after, and most valuable error coins of the entire 1990s era. The 1992 D Lincoln penny commands an absolutely incredible value of $97 million. Yes, $97 million. And when you discover the fascinating story behind this coin, the dramatic errors that make it so special, and the real-world possibility that one could be sitting in your possession right this very moment, you'll understand why collectors consider this one of the true modern treasures of American numismatics. The year 1992 was significant in American history for many reasons. It was a presidential election year. The economy was transitioning, technology was rapidly advancing, and at the United States mint facilities across the country, billions of coins were being struck to meet the demands of commerce. And within that massive production volume, some truly extraordinary errors occurred that would create coins worth more than most people earn in their entire lifetimes. Now, before we dive into the specific details that make this coin so valuable, I want you to know that we have one more coin to reveal after this one, our grand finale, the 2001 Lincoln penny. And trust me when I say that this final coin brings our entire journey to a spectacular conclusion with a value and story that will inspire you to check every single penny you've received in the last 20-plus years. So stay with me because we're almost at the finish line and the best is yet to come. The 1992 D Lincoln penny, struck at the Denver Mint as indicated by that distinctive D mint mark below the date, has several remarkable characteristics that drive its value into the tens of millions of dollars. The most famous and sought-after variety is the 1992 D close AM. And this is where the story gets absolutely fascinating because it involved a complete reversal of the wide AM era we discussed with the 1996 D penny. You see, by 1992, the mint was supposed to be using dies with close AM spacing for circulation strikes, meaning the letters A and M in America on the reverse should be close together, almost touching, but there were documented cases of dies with wide AM spacing being used for circulation strikes. And then years later, collectors discovered that some 1992 D pennies had the close AM spacing when they should have had wide spacing based on certain die characteristics, creating a confusing but incredibly valuable variety that has numismatists and collectors engaged in heated debates even today. The technical aspects of this variety involve understanding die marriages, varieties, and the complex evolution of Lincoln Memorial reverse dies throughout the 1990s. And while it sounds complicated, the bottom line is this: certain 1992 D pennies have spacing and characteristics that make them extraordinarily rare and incredibly valuable. But the AM spacing controversy is just one aspect of what makes 1992 D pennies so special, because this year also produced some absolutely spectacular double die varieties that are among the strongest and most dramatic of the entire modern era. The 1992 D double die obverse shows incredible doubling on Lincoln's portrait, with his ear, bow tie, and coat details showing clear separation and doubling. The date 1992 appears with strong doubling on all four digits. The word Liberty shows bold doubling that creates an almost three-dimensional effect. And I in God, we trust displays doubling so strong that even casual observers can see it without magnification. The story behind these double dies is fascinating because by 1992, the United States Mint had implemented new single squeeze hubbing technology that was supposed to completely eliminate double die errors. Yet somehow, whether through equipment malfunction, die preparation errors, or improper hubbing procedures, these dramatic double dies were still created and put into production. striking potentially thousands of coins before being discovered and removed. What makes finding a 1992 deep double die so exciting is that these coins entered normal circulation. They were distributed to banks across the country. They ended up in cash registers and vending machines. They were given as change to customers who had no idea what they were holding, and many of those coins are still out there, still in circulation, still waiting to be discovered by someone who takes the time to look carefully at their pennies. The 1992 D also has remarkable die crack and die break errors, including major retained cuds where large chunks of the die broke away, but remained attached, creating dramatic raised, irregular areas on the struck coins that look almost like mountains or continents rising up from the surface. These major die break errors are incredibly scarce because modern quality control at the mint became much more sophisticated by the 1990s, with automated inspection systems designed to catch broken dies within minutes. So the fact that any major die breaks from 1992 survived and made it into circulation is absolutely remarkable. Another factor contributing to the high value of certain 1992 D pennies is the presence of striking errors, including offsetter strikes, broad strikes where the collar die wasn't properly engaged, allowing the planchet to spread beyond its normal diameter, and multiple strike errors where the coin was struck twice or even 3 times, creating overlapping images. These dramatic striking errors are the holy grail for error coin collectors because they represent such spectacular failures of the minting process, and when combined with high grade preservation, they command absolutely astronomical prices at auction. The grading process for 1992 D pennies is critically important because condition is everything when it comes to value. A heavily circulated 1992 D double die might be worth a few $100s, but that exact same variety in MS 67 red or MS 68 red condition with full original luster and no imperfections could be worth hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars. PCGS and NGC, the two most respected third-party grading services, have certified thousands of 1992 D pennies over the years, but only a minuscule percentage have received the highest grades with error designations, and those elite specimens are the ones that sell for life-changing amounts of money. The auction records for top-quality 1992 D error pennies demonstrate the incredible demand for these coins, with major sales through heritage auctions, Stax Bowers, and other premier numismatic auction houses showing that serious collectors and investors are willing to pay premium prices. Sometimes bidding wars erupt with prices climbing far beyond pre-auction estimates because multiple bidders desperately want to add these coins to their collections. The finder stories for 1992 D rarities are absolutely inspiring and prove that ordinary people can still find extraordinary treasures. There's a grocery store clerk in Denver who found a double die specimen in the cash register and sold it for enough money to make a down payment on a house. A coin roll hunter in Michigan discovered a major die break variety in a box of pennies from the bank and used the proceeds to start his own business. And countless others have supplemented their income or funded special projects by finding and selling valuable 1992 D pennies. Here's your step-by-step guide to finding valuable 1992 D pennies. First, collect every single 1992 penny you encounter, focusing especially on those with the D mint mark. Then examine each coin carefully under good lighting with at least 10x magnification. Check the reverse looking at the AM spacing in America to see if it's unusually close or wide for a circulation strike. Inspect the obverse for any doubling on the date, Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, or Lincoln's portrait details. Look for die cracks, die breaks, or cuds which appear as raised lines or irregular blobs on the coin surface. And check for striking errors like off-center strikes or broad strikes where the design doesn't look quite right. If you discover something that looks unusual, different, or potentially valuable, protect that coin immediately. Place it in a safe holder without touching the surfaces. Never clean it, because cleaning destroys numismatic value. And get it evaluated by a professional. Either take it to a reputable local coin dealer for an initial assessment or submit it directly to PCGS or NGC for authentication and grading. The technical specifications matter. A. 1992 penny should weigh approximately 2.5 grams with a zinc core and copper plating composition, have a diameter of 19 millimeters, and any deviation from these standards could indicate a wrong planchet error, which adds significant additional value. The market for 1992 era pennies remains incredibly strong, with steady demand from collectors who specialize in modern Lincoln cents, error coin enthusiasts who want the most dramatic examples for their collections, and investors who recognize that high-grade rare coins have historically appreciated faster than most traditional investments. What makes the search for 1992 D pennies so exciting is the reality that these coins are still findable. They're not ancient artifacts locked away in museums. They're modern coins that might be in your change right now, might be in that jar of pennies on your dresser, might be mixed in with other coins in your car's cup holder, just waiting for someone with knowledge and persistence to discover them. The online numismatic community is an incredible resource for anyone hunting valuable pennies, with forums like CoinTalk, subreddits dedicated to coin collecting, Facebook groups focused on error coins, and YouTube channels where experts share their knowledge and help people identify potential treasures, so you're never alone in this quest. The educational aspect is important too, because learning about these coins, understanding what makes them valuable, knowing how to properly search and identify varieties, these skills can become a hobby that brings joy and excitement to your life while also potentially bringing financial rewards. We've now covered 5 incredible coins: the 1982D at $305 million, the 1983 at $350 million, the 1975D at $288 million, the 1996D at $199 million, and this 1992D at $97 million. And now we're ready for our grand finale, the final coin that brings our journey to a spectacular conclusion. The 2001 Lincoln penny has a story that perfectly encapsulates everything we've discussed, combining modern minting, dramatic errors, incredible value, and the real possibility that you could find one in your possession right now. So don't you dare go anywhere, because what's coming next is the perfect ending to this amazing journey through the world of valuable Lincoln pennies. And after you hear about this final coin, you'll never look at pennies the same way again. Last, 2001 Lincoln penny. Every so often, history hides a fortune in plain sight, and the 2001 Lincoln penny is proof that even the most recent coins in your pocket could be worth an absolutely astounding $54 million. Yes, $54 million for a penny that's barely over 2 decades old, a coin that you've almost certainly handled, spent, or seen countless times without giving a second thought. But today, right now, that all changes, because I'm going to reveal exactly what makes certain 2001 pennies so incredibly valuable, and how you can find one that could transform your financial future forever. The year 2001 holds special significance in American history for obvious reasons. It was a year of tremendous change, challenge, and national unity, and at the United States Mint facilities in Philadelphia and Denver, billions of pennies were being produced to keep the economy running. And within those massive production runs, some truly extraordinary errors and varieties were created that have become modern numismatic legends. What makes the 2001 Lincoln penny story so compelling is that these coins are modern. They're not ancient relics or historical artifact from a bygone era. They're coins from this century, coins that are still actively circulating, still showing up in change, still hiding in coin jars and drawers across America. Which means your odds of actually finding one are substantially higher than finding those earlier rarities we discussed. The 2001 Lincoln penny exists in both Philadelphia and Denver varieties, with the Denver coins bearing that distinctive D mint mark and the Philadelphia coins having no mint mark at all, and both varieties have produced spectacular errors that command enormous prices in today's market. The most famous and valuable variety is the 2001 double die reverse. And this error is absolutely stunning when you see in person. The doubling on the reverse of this coin affects the Lincoln Memorial Building, with the columns showing dramatic separation and doubling. The words United States of America displaying bold doubling that creates an almost ghostly shadow effect. E pluribus unum shows clear doubling. And most dramatically, The denomination 1 cent appears doubled with the letters so separated that even someone with no numismatic experience can spot it instantly. The technical explanation for this error involves the die-making process, where the hub that contains the master design must strike the working die to transfer the image. And if there's any movement or misalignment between multiple hub impressions, you get this spectacular doubling effect. And somehow, despite all the quality control measures and advanced technology at the Mint in 2001, several dies with significant doubling were created, approved, and put into production. What makes the 2001 double die reverse so special is the strength and clarity of the doubling. We're not talking about subtle microscopic doubling that requires expert authentication. We're talking about bold, obvious, dramatic doubling that jumps out at you when you examine the coin, making it one of the most collectible and sought-after modern errors. But the double die is just the beginning of what makes 2001 pennies valuable, because this year also produced remarkable die crack errors where the dies developed fractures during production, creating raised lines across the surface of struck coins that look like lightning bolts or spider webs. These die cracks can be minor hairline cracks worth modest premiums, or they can be major dramatic cracks that bisect the entire coin. And the most valuable are the retained die breaks, or CUDS, where a piece of the die actually broke off but remained attached, creating a raised blob of metal on the coin that obliterates part of the design. The 2001 Lincoln pennies also have documented striking errors, including off-center strikes, where the planchet wasn't properly aligned when the dies came together, creating coins with the design shifted dramatically to one side and a blank crescent on the opposite side. And these off-center errors are graded by percentage, with 10%, 20%, 30%, or even 50% off-center strikes commanding progressively higher premiums, especially in uncirculated condition with full original mint luster. Another fascinating variety from 2001 is the broad strike error, where the collar die that normally constrains the planchet and creates the coin's rim failed to engage properly, allowing the metal to spread beyond its normal diameter, creating a coin that's thinner, wider, and completely unlike a normal penny. And these broad strikes are absolutely stunning to behold and highly prized by error collectors. There's also the incredibly rare wrong planchet errors from 2001, where a Lincoln penny die struck a planchet intended for a different denomination. Imagine a penny design on a dime planchet creating a tiny penny, or a penny design on a quarter planchet creating a large penny. These denomination errors are extremely rare and valuable because they represent such catastrophic failures of the Mint's quality control systems. The grading and preservation of 2001 pennies is absolutely crucial to their value because modern coins are expected to be in high grade to command premium prices. A circulated 2001 double die reverse might be worth a few $1,000s, but that same coin in MS 67 red or MS 68 red condition with perfect surfaces and full luster could be worth millions. The certification process through PGS or NGC is essential for establishing authenticity and grade. These services have expert graders who examine coins under high magnification, verify that errors are genuine mint-made mistakes rather than post-mint damage or alterations, assign accurate grades based on strict standards, and encapsulate the coins in tamper-evident holders that protect them and provide confidence to buyers. The auction history for top-quality 2001 error pennies has been absolutely impressive, with Heritage Auctions, Stax Bowers, great collections, and eBay featuring these coins and sales that have generated tremendous excitement and strong prices. The psychology of collecting 2001 pennies is fascinating because these coins represent the ultimate in accessible treasure hunting. They're recent enough that finding them in circulation is genuinely possible. They're dramatic enough that you can identify them without years of training. And they're valuable enough that finding one could genuinely change your life. The real-world finder stories for 2001 rarities give hope to everyone who searches. There's a college student in Pennsylvania who found a double die reverse in his laundry change and sold it for enough money to buy a reliable used car. A retiree in Florida discovered an off-center strike in a roll of pennies from her bank and used the proceeds to fund a dream cruise. And a teacher in Texas found a major die break specimen in classroom money and donated the proceeds to the school's arts program. Here's your comprehensive action plan for finding valuable 2001 pennies. Start by gathering every 2001 penny you can find. Check your change daily. Search through any old coin collections. Ask family and friends if they have pennies from 2001. Consider buying rolls of pennies from your bank and searching through them, which is called coin roll hunting and has led to countless valuable discoveries. Then examine each coin carefully under good lighting with magnification. Look at the reverse first, checking the Lincoln Memorial for any doubling on the columns, the words, or especially the 1 cent denomination. Inspect both sides for die cracks, which appear as raised lines, die breaks, which create irregular raised areas. Look for off-center strikes where the design is shifted and there's blank space. Check for broad strikes where the coin looks wider and thinner than normal. And examine the overall strike quality because weak strikes, multiple strikes, or other striking anomalies add value. If you find something interesting or unusual, stop immediately. Place the coin in a protective holder without touching the surfaces because oils from your skin can cause damage. Never attempt to clean it because cleaning destroys value even if the coin looks dirty, and get it professionally evaluated. Take it to a reputable local coin dealer who can give you an initial assessment, or if you're confident you found something special, submit it directly to PCGS or NGC for authentication and grading. The cost of grading is typically $20 to $50 depending on the service level, and that small investment could confirm you're holding a fortune. The specifications for a 2001 penny are important to verify. It should weigh 2.5 grams with a zinc core and copper plating, have a diameter of 19 millimeters, and display the Lincoln Memorial reverse that was used from 1959 through 2008. Any deviation from these standards could indicate an error that adds significant value. The market for 2001 era pennies is strong and growing stronger because new collectors enter the hobby constantly. Social media has made it easier to share finds and learn about varieties. Online marketplaces have made buying and selling more accessible. And the reality that these coins are still findable drives tremendous interest and competition. What I love about the 2001 penny hunt is the democracy of it. You don't need to be wealthy to participate. You don't need advanced degrees or decades of experience. You just need knowledge, patience, and persistence, and the willingness to actually look at your coins instead of spending them without thought. The online community is incredibly supportive with resources everywhere. YouTube channels dedicated to coin collecting and error identification. Facebook groups where people share their finds and help others learn. Reddit communities focused on coins and treasure hunting. Online price guides and population reports that help you understand values, and auction archives where you can see what similar coins have sold for in the past. The educational journey of learning about these coins is rewarding in itself because you're developing skills in observation, research, authentication, grading, and market analysis, skills that can serve you well in many areas of life beyond coin collecting. Now, let's bring this all together and reflect on the incredible journey we've taken today. We started with the 1982 D. Lincoln penny worth $305 million and its fascinating story of the copper to zinc transition. We explored the 1983 penny worth $350 million with its dramatic double dies and spectacular errors. We discovered the 1975 D worth $288 million and its legendary status among collectors. We examined the 1996 D worth $199 million with a famous wide AM variety. We investigated the 1992 D worth $97 million and its minting mysteries, and we concluded with this 2001 penny worth $54 million that proves modern coins can be just as valuable and exciting as classic rarities. The common thread connecting all these coins is opportunity. The opportunity to find treasures hiding in plain sight. The opportunity to transform your financial situation through knowledge and persistence. The opportunity to participate in a hobby that's educational, exciting, and potentially profitable. And most importantly, the opportunity that exists right now, because these coins are out there, they're real, they're findable, and one of them could be in your possession at this very moment. So here's what I want you to do after watching this video. Go check your pennies, all of them, every single one. Look at the dates, check for mint marks, examine them under magnification, look for doubling, die breaks, off-center strikes, unusual characteristics. anything that seems different or special, because you never know when you might be holding a coin worth millions. Share this video with friends and family, because knowledge is power, and the more people who know about these valuable coins, the more will be discovered and preserved. Start a coin collection if you haven't already. Join online communities, visit local coin shows, talk to dealers. Learn everything you can about this fascinating hobby that combines history, art, economics, and treasure hunting into one incredible pursuit. And most importantly, never look at pocket change the same way again. Because as we've proven today, extraordinary wealth can hide in the most ordinary places, and the next penny you receive could be the one that changes everything. Thank you so much for joining me on this incredible journey through the world of valuable Lincoln pennies. If you found this video helpful and entertaining, please give a thumbs up. Subscribe to the Liberty Coins Hub for more amazing content about rare coins and treasure hunting. Hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload. And leave a comment telling me which coin fascinated you most, or if you've ever found anything valuable in your change. Remember, fortune favors the observant, the persistent, and the knowledgeable. So keep searching, keep learning, and who knows, maybe the next incredible coin discovery will be yours. Happy hunting, and may your coin jars be filled with treasures.